Preferred salmon slicer, and it's long, serrated, and very flexible. So that allows me to go through the salmon all the way, push down a little bit if I want to get on the bone, right? And the serrated part allows me to go through all the, chop through all the bones. So to take all the meat off, if I just cut straight down here, I would be missing all this meat. I paid for the entire salmon, so I have to use it all. So my first cut is going to go be behind the gill plate up into the head. Okay, once I go up there, then I'm going to turn it around and get the blade. You'll hear this bone snapping. And I'm going to rest it right there. Okay, so you can see now I'm going to move the blade all the way down. But if I move it this way, it's just straight, parallel with the cutting board, I would be missing all the meat that's below the spine. So I'm going to angle my blade up a little bit like that so I can make sure I capture all the meat. So now I just ride the spine all the way down. Okay, and there's my side. So that's how you remove one side. And we'll deal with this in a little bit. And I want to really be careful when I'm handling the flesh so I don't bend it. Then what I'm going to do is flip it around, roll it over. So the spine is facing towards me. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go up towards the head. Get the neck meat, turn it around. Angle my blade down up a little bit, and then ride the spine all the way back down. So that at the end, all I really have left, so here's my other side, okay? All I have left now is this, okay? So this is a pretty nice yield on the salmon. We've gotten most of the meat off, but we're not done yet. We paid for all of this. So now I'm going to go back. I'm just going to use a spoon here and get all the cheek meat out and all the meat that's on the spine and scrape that off because I paid for that. Right? So you could probably get a quarter to a half pound of trim like this per salmon. Doing one salmon, not such a big deal. If I do 8 salmon a day and I generate that, this is about $8.50, $9 a pound whole. Okay, so you have to be able to figure out, I bought the whole thing, I'm not selling this, I have to maximize what I can sell. Okay, so here, now all we have left is the head and the bones, and this I could use if maybe for a reception. If I want to make, I could take phyllo dough squares, brush them with butter or olive oil, mix this with a little bit of sriracha, put it in there, roll it up, twist it, bake those in the oven, and then when they come out, tie the ends with little pieces of blanched chive, and then sell those for $3.50 each as a spicy salmon firecracker, right? So you can make money. That's how you make money. You can't just throw that out. So that's one thing. The other thing, you know, in Western cuisine, there's not much use for this, but in other cultures, they use this for broth and stock and different things. So you could use this if you had a clientele that appreciate that intense salmon aroma and flavor. There's also a classic French sauce called sauce genevoise that uses salmon bones. It's very similar to, if you ever had demi-glace, it's a really rich beef sauce. They make a similar one with salmon bones. Okay? Does anyone want to take this home and cook with it? or put it in there, maybe their roommate's mattress. No? That's what I meant. Okay. Let me start now with the next stage. So now we have our sides here, and we're going to now trim out the top and the belly. So you can see there's a lot of tissue on here that we don't really want to sell, and there's bones here, and also this belly meat. This is the toro, or the fatty belly of the salmon. You can also do this for tuna as well. So first we'll do is trim this up a little bit. This is a flexible fillet knife. Okay, I love this knife. This is made by Dexter Russell Knife Company, and super flexible, great knife. And I'm just using the tip, applying a little bit of pressure and slicing through, coming underneath, shallow cuts, come back, trying to extend my yield. Push it back and see that. Now I'm going to take it off. So here what I'm trying to do is just sell as much as I can of quality product. Then here are the bones. I'm going to come right underneath them. Trying to minimize the amount of meat I'm taking off. I'm trying to get right behind the bones, and shallow cuts as you go down. As shallow as you can. Follow that all the way down. Extend your yield. Once you get it out, then you can trim. So here, if you did have clientele that would appreciate this in maybe a sushi program, you could sell this as toro, right, for sushi. It's a really fatty part, and some people love that. So if you had that clientele, you could sell that. So now we have this pretty much trimmed out. Our next step here is going to be to remove the pin bones. So right in here there are a series of bones, lateral bones, that provide structural support from the spine. They go this way, so they provide some support. And so what you want to do is pull them out in the direction that they're going in. Okay? If you pull them out against the way they're going in, you'll rip the flesh open. Another technique I've seen people do is they'll do what's called a V-cut or a channel cut down here, and they'll remove that whole thing. The advantage of that is it's really fast. The disadvantage of that is that it creates this large channel down the middle and kind of takes away the integrity of your structure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get really close, and I'm going to go down, and I'm going to, that's a bone. That's what the bones look like. And I'm going to stay close to my work. Okay, stay down. And I know approximately they're, about ½ inch, ¼ inch apart. And I'm just going to follow this all the way down. Notice I'm not moving. And then you can go back, make it look nice, and see if you missed any. Right. So now we've removed all the bone, the pin bones, with the Japanese style pin bone tweezers. And our next step now is to take the skin off. I prefer to take the skin off on these because this is a farm-raised product from the Atlantic Ocean, and the skin to me is not worth serving. It kind of gives it an acrid taste. But if you're getting fish from pristine waters, beautiful waters, I would encourage you to make sure they keep the skin on, and because that adds a textural element. It's kind of like when you serve chicken breast with the skin on, you get that really nice textural contrast and intense chicken aroma and flavor in there. But the way it's very simple to take the skin off. You take your knife and you want to get down in the sweet spot. So if this is the skin, right on top of that is your meat layer, and in between there's a little space where you want to park your knife in there and work it all the way across. And it'll sound like a little bit of sandpaper going in there. So if I get in there and just grab this, and you can hear it. Then I'm going to remove the fillet, park it over here, and there's your skin. Very simple. So here, if you did remove the scales and had it all good to go, you can sell this if you had an opportunity to use the skin. I love salmon skin sushi. It's absolutely delicious. It's very powerful. And so what you would do is take this, cut it in half, a saute pan, a little bit of canola oil in there, get it hot, sear the skin, flip it over, sear the other side, couple drops of sesame oil. Then I dilute a little bit of soy sauce with water, create a steam and put the lid on, steam it for a few minutes, take it out, then you roll it up like a chiffonade and you slice it. And in your sushi roll, what you would do is your sushi rolls here, rice, a little bit of your salmon skin, and I like it with scrambled eggs in there, and then a little bit of sriracha, roll it up. The flavor, the texture, the contrast is really, really nice. Okay, so now over here, we're going to process the salmon and break down now into portions. But when I look at this, I notice there are different sections, right? We have this tail section and we have this neck or head section. If one of you came into the restaurant and you got this piece, and someone else came in the restaurant and got that piece, who's going to be happy? You think this one? I would argue that no one would be. Because, you know, even if you got this piece, your friend didn't get this one, and that's not a really great experience, right, as a group if you're going out. So you have to understand, in the kitchen, you can't value this whole thing the same way. So what I would do is trim a little bit of the tail off, right? I would not throw this out, because you paid for that, but what I would do is serve this with maybe the firecrackers, right? So you're still going to use it, you're just not going to value it the same way you might a centerpiece. So I put that over here. Same with the neck portion. I'm going to take a little bit off there and sell that over here. Now, I can take this and I can cut pieces off like this, right? I can cut a few of those. And I can cut a few of these on this end, because we're all going to have a little taste of this. But what I really wanted to understand too is how to make a piece that's not too thin, because we're getting broader here. I don't want to cut too thin, because it doesn't look very nice. So another technique you can do is slice it this way. Okay? And slice pieces like this. So that's a nice looking piece that's thick and plump without being long and skinny. Okay, so you're going to get a nice browning on there. It's not going to overcook. Thing with this piece. Last thing I'll say is when you cook this, you'll notice that the salmon has a presentation side and a non-presentation side, right? It's like us, we all have it when we do a picture, we have our good side and we have our not so good side. You always want to put your presentation side forward, right, when you meet people. So same thing in cooking, you want to get, since the saute pan or wherever the grill is hottest, when you first put it down, you want to get that side, the presentation side, cooking first for the best sear or marks on there, okay? All right, so that concludes breaking down an Atlantic salmon.